Alright, so this is my first attempt at a video. I just wanted to show off my build in Enshrouded, which is over several of the flames. Just starting at the far south of my build, in front of me is the bridge to Hillock, um, and you can just see Hillock off in the distance. You can see on the map where I am. You can see I have a lot of shrines down, um, just because I like to build and I get carried away. But I started down here because I wanted to build a forest. I hadn't seen anyone else do this. Usually people are building structures. Um, if you're familiar with this area, there are a few trees, but mostly it's grass. And I decided to make it unrecognizable from what it originally was. So over there is the obelisk and the camp, which are still there. I didn't remove them. So you can still use it if you're doing a playthrough on the server. And actually the shrine I hid under a little hill, so I didn't want the light to shine through into the forest. And that hides it really well. I do plan to at some point do a little more landscaping over here and put in like maybe a lumber mill or something like that. That would make sense in the forest anyway. But otherwise, if you're walking on the road, you really can't see much. And it's really creepy at night too. The effect at night is pretty cool. So here we are walking into the forest. Not a lot to see besides the trees. I did a lot of landscaping with the bushes and also with the foliage voxels that we have, and then trying to put plants into those to give it a little more dimension. It's a work in progress, and then mixing up the trees a lot to make it feel like a real forest. And yeah, I built a little hut in the forest. This is made out of the tree material from Blackmire, and I gave it that mottled effect by using both the interior wood and the bark in the surface. And I think of this as my little Auntie Ethel hut. If you play Baldur's Gate 3, then you know who Auntie Ethel is, and this is kind of her little hut. Her bed's up here. Rounded windows work really well with the wood as a building material. But the reason I call it my little Auntie Ethel hut is there's a secret underneath here. We're running around. And there is a hidden dungeon underneath her house. And, well, the bones pretty much tell you what's going on. This was actually originally just a wolf den that I turned into. That's why it has the bones. There's a wolf den here. And I do plan to at some point put in like a little, I don't know, like a witch's lair, like a little torture lab or something, but there's not quite the pieces in the game yet that I would want to use to do it. So it's a work that's been paused until I have pieces. And I don't use the mod that's out there. So everything I've done is just normal gameplay stuff. So we're continuing north. We're on the road to Fort Kelvin. And the forest actually takes up 2 full shrine areas. you can see this part of the forest I've done a little bit more landscaping with. This flame I left uncovered because at night it gives off the red light and it's super creepy, and I love the way it looks, the way it hits the underside of the branches. And this is the path to Fort Welvin, which is where the majority of my build is, but at first I'm gonna go follow the road to the northwest because I have more shrines down for Farmlands. And this is the most recent area that I've been working on, so it's not really like a finished work. It's definitely I have a long way to go. I am really excited about the farming pieces that they gave us with update 4, and I love the pumpkins, so it's given me a reason to put more work into this area. So we have like some farmhouses with farmland. I still need to build a real barn. That's kind of a slapdash thing I did to put my yaks in. Got a goat pen up there. This is the only actually finished farm so far. It's just a normal little farmhouse inside, pretty modest. Poor people. Salt of the earth. And out back is their farm. Growing a little bit of everything, but especially corn. There's a fair bit of corn here. A little pond. I do plan to put another farm over there, but I need to figure out what to do with that bit of hill that sticks out in the wall behind it. My shrine area ends at that wall, and I don't know what to do there yet, so I'll get back to it. Little outhouse, no indoor plumbing. And this is more of I'm gonna make this into more of a ranch, this one, so these people are a little more wealthy. So we got a basement with a bathroom, little work area, the main living area. I always make my pots and stuff look like they're always on the coals by putting a torch underneath so that the fire is always burning, so I don't need to be making something for it to have a flame. You'll see that a lot around the town. And a sleeping area. I'm a little OCD about closing doors. So that's the farmland. It's pretty big. I did an enormous amount of landscaping. This is not the shape that the land was in to start with. So the majority of the work that I've done, which is a lot, it just doesn't show yet. And I planted trees along the edges to kind of soften the wall of rock. I'd like to take that mountain down, but I'd have to put another flame shrine down, which, and of course taking that mountain down would take a really long time, so I don't know if I'll actually do that. But let's go to Fort Kelvin. I started building this before the update that changed Fort Kelvin. So now it's like a whole bunch of buildings in ruins with VUCA in it. But when I started building this, there was only like 4 or 5 ruined buildings. And the layout was very different. So that's that's the salt mine over there that goes into the shroud. And since there is shroud, I figured, well, they'd have to put a gate on it, so anytime people want to go mine salt, they're gonna have to take some guards, and then they'll have to lock to make sure that nothing comes through when they're done. And this is the causeway to the city, the main gate. There's a little guard tower. Eventually there's going to be more guard towers on the corners. I just haven't gotten to that. And this is the city. Don't get squished by the doors. So the main road through town. I built some stables down there underneath the guard tower. I was going to put the yaks in it, but it didn't quite make sense. So I'll hold out until there's some mounts. And I'll put them in here. Just a dog right now. That is the blacksmith's. It's kind of a temporary area. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep it. If I do, I'll need to fix it up, make it look a little better. Cottage, just as a roof line that I learned how to make from watching Chisel Chips videos here on YouTube.
Hello.
But just a humble house. I really didn't know how to build before I started this game. I played a little bit of Valheim, but I wasn't terribly good at it. And I have a bad habit of building square boxes. So some of the houses you'll look at, like this thing over here, and they're ugly. And one day I'll rebuild them, but I kind of leave them to sort of see my own progression in the game. You can see, like, I still have a box here, but I was learning how to dress it up a little better. And I watch a lot of building videos on YouTube to get ideas, and even some of the buildings in my town are ones that I was following someone's tutorial online, so I'll try and point them out for the ones I remember. Like this one I learned how to build from a tutorial, but I don't remember whose video it was. And I've been putting the new villagers in the houses. This is a little sitting room. I really like these new tapestries. These are the coolest thing, I think. A little kitchen. I like to insert the cabinets in the walls to make them look like kitchen cabinets. I do that a lot. Little sitting room. Bedroom. These walls are made out of shingles. Bathroom. That's the blacksmith's daughter's house, and this is the blacksmith's house. It's very Spartan in here because he just seems like the kind of guy that doesn't have a lot of frills. Bathroom, bedroom. The only ornamental thing he has is the tapestry of a battle. That's just a little spinster's house. Here's my flame shrine. A church. Church of the Flameborn. That's a well up there. I saw someone use it like a bell, and it does kind of look like a bell. Kind of like how it turned out. And they are worshipping the Flameborn, which, oh my god, that's me. Oh, thanks guys. Bless you, bless you, bless you. This was my first attempt to make... So the concept behind Fort Kelvin is actually from this notice board that used to be in the town. It's talking about how Fort Kelvin is the last stronghold of peace and a place for all survivors. And the sad thing is, when you encounter this in the old Fort Kelvin, it's already fallen. Everyone's dead. But I just thought, what if it didn't fall? What if it survived when it succeeded? And so Fort Kelvin has just sort of grown over the years as survivors arrive, and they all bring their different cultures with them. So I didn't want any buildings to be the same. The city kind of grew up hodgepodge. So there was no plan, there was no city plan for this. The city grew as more people arrived and as it needed space. So no two buildings are the same. There's none that repeat the same shape or materials, which is actually making it harder and harder to build stuff because I'm trying not to repeat things. But this was my first attempt to make it look like something from the desert, but not like... I didn't want to repeat or copy the style of buildings that Keen has made in the desert. So I like this. My friend thinks it's ugly, but I don't know. I like it. Something about it. Something solid about it. I haven't actually furnished it inside, though. Here we have another box. I was actually just testing out the roof. That's why this building is here. But as the city has expanded, they're kind of running out of space. Well, once I finish building, there's open spaces where I haven't built yet. But once I fill it up, like the idea is like, oh, people are actually digging into the rock for living space. This is a partially furnished house. And actually, some of the dug-in houses are some of my favorites. We have another one over here. I don't know why these ones just come out better for me. Maybe because I can do things on the inside and not worry about what the outside looks like. So we got a kitchen over here, dining area, seating area, little storage hall, bedroom. I need to change out the torches. Those are what I was using when I was building it. I need to put real lighting in. I like to make my own potted plants, just to have something with more of dramatic effect than the ferns that they have in-game. And these are just like those craftable pots that you can make in the kiln, and then I just use foliage above it. And they look really good. There's a watchtower over there. We have a mill, a windmill, and you can tell by looking at it that I don't know what a windmill is supposed to look like. But I tried. And this area is the gated quarter, so it's within the gates of the city. This is kind of the garden district in here. I have Emily Frey over here. In my game, she runs a garden shop. Why not? So this is her business over here. And this is actually, this frame was here in the old Fort Kelvin, and I just put some rugs on it, and it acts as a shelter, so she will build everything standing underneath that. Over here we have just like a town museum. Just all the stuff, you know, the collections and things and other doodads, shiny stuff. Nothing fancy, because it's not a fancy town. But it's something. And above the museum, I have like a civic room, like a lecture room. people want to meet, if the town needs to discuss things, they can come here. And one of the, you'll notice like you get peaks of things as you walk through the city. Like you get a peak of that mage tower up there, but not like a full-on view. Like a lot of people, like you see online, like they'll build something and you can stand in one spot and see everything. And I don't like that because I like the surprise. So I kind of like to put peekaboos through the city, so you get little glimpses of things. Like you can see a tower off there, but not a lot of it. It makes you want to explore, I think. There's another street, and this is another area that I haven't yet built in, but there'll be more houses and things over here. We have another little dug-in. This is my pet peeve with the new followers. They don't shut any doors behind them. It drives me insane. Like for someone who has OCD, that's very annoying. Little bathroom, kitchen. I like this house. Little shack. I put one of the followers here, the guy who kind of looks like he's homeless. He lives in the shack.
Hey.
So you can see how no two houses are the same. I try to decorate them differently. I try to shape them differently.
Hi.
Oh yeah, I forgot to give this house to her. Little staff on the mantle. And a balcony. Little garden. This is one of my earlier buildings. It's ugly. I know it's ugly, but one day I might rebuild it. But for now, it's just trying to shows where I started from. We've got the alchemist's house and a little bookseller's underneath it. So when Balthazar bought this land, he tried to buy out the bookseller, and the bookseller wouldn't sell, so Balthazar had to build his house around it. He's got a little shop downstairs. I'd really like to be able to put potions and things down. That would make a lot of sense, but hopefully they'll add that in a patch. I know you can do it with the mod, but like I said, I don't want to use the mod. I just want to play the vanilla game in Balthazar. And I think he's got a bathroom down there. A little safe. This is his upstairs, his living quarters, his bed, notes, kitchen. This is the first building that I built that I was really trying to like put some architectural interest into it. I think I got halfway there. I really like the portico. And there were a bunch of these little, I don't know what you call them, tents, these shop tents around the town, and you got to be really careful. I've tore some of them down by accident just by hitting E when I was underneath them while trying to do something else. So I think I probably destroyed 3 others. Kind of heartbreaking. Hopefully they'll add the ability to build these one day. Got a little tenement building over here. Where I live in New England, there's a lot of these sort of red brick buildings with white trim, and that was just sort of the inspiration for this building. Inside, kitchen, dining, bathroom, bed. This is the lower town. There's an upper town Just gonna go under here as a bridge to connect the two halves of Upper Town. Got some
Hi.
buildings even under the bridge. No space is wasted in this town. I'm always experimenting with the fireplaces to try and find a new look, a new way of doing it. That house is one of the first houses I built and it's still not decorated. This is the castle complex. I'm really proud of that tower in the middle. I spent a lot of time building that. I like how the fluted columns came out, and I like the contrast of the city wall stone with the brick. Yeah, it's a pretty big complex. I didn't know when to stop. And just like the town, like the castle grew over time. So I didn't want it to be uniform in design or material. So it's kind of like a Winterfell. Everything kind of got built at a different time by different people using different materials. This is a little statue. I built this a while ago before they added the new statue with patch 4. And sort of like the little backstory I have for the town is, you know, the town was being overrun by Vuka, and sort of an alternate history instead of falling. There was this band of refugees that came in and led by this guy whose name nobody knows. And he sacrificed himself to defeat the Vuka, and the town put a statue of him up in his honor. And he's actually pointing to his grave over there. There's a tomb down here, which I haven't really decorated yet. But this is the tomb of the savior of the town. I need to make it look fancy and stuff down here, but that's the goal anyway. And he's pointing to his tomb as a reminder for the town leaders to never forget. Instead of going to the castle, let's go back a ways. This was I built this when the Blackmire was coming out because I knew the Bard was coming, and I thought, oh, I'll build a music school. But then it turns out you can't put any of the instruments down, so I'm leaving this empty for now. I'm sure something will come along in one of the patches that'll give it a use. But it is a pretty cool interior. It's pretty big. You wouldn't know it from looking at it on the outside. Maybe they'll let us put the instruments down at some point, and I can turn it into a music school. And this was the original blacksmith, but he was so far out of the way it didn't make sense, so I rebuilt it and moved him out front. And that is, or was, a town jail. It's not now because I have another jail area. I don't know what to do with it yet. That's another space where I can put another house. Let's go back a little bit. There's multiple ways to get around the town. And I just want to take a path that shows it off best. So we're moving into the upper town. This is the Huntress's house. This is kind of a riff on a design by Ketmal. He did a blacksmithy that sort of had this sort of look to it. And I do that a lot. I'll build something somebody builds in a video to kind of learn how to be more interesting in my builds, because like I said in the beginning, I was really just building a bunch of square boxes. So this is the first building that I built, and I was like, oh, this is cool. The downstairs is her shop. Well, I don't know if it's a shop, but it's her workroom. And around back is her house. Funny thing about the Huntress, she acts all tough. And then she has the fanciest bathroom in town. I'm on to her. It's just a little tower house. Sorry, my cat is harassing me. Sometimes I don't always build a chimney in a house, because there's no smoke mechanics in the game like there is with Valheim. And sometimes I just don't like the look of a chimney, or it sets the build off weird a little bit. So I actually just set this heater into the tower. You can't tell when you're in the tower. It's not visible. Well, barely visible. That's supposed to be this is supposed to be a guard tower, but we don't have the things that I want to put in a guard tower, so for now it's just a party room. So, well, as you can see down there is where we were. This is my house with my cat. Hello, cat. Again, I like to put torches underneath so they look like they're always burning. My study, my bedroom, bathroom, and a nice area to view the farms. Well, it would be if the rendering distance worked, but I'd like to be able to have that as something that we can adjust in our settings to have the render distance go further, so I can actually stand here and look at my farms one day. This is Emily Frey's house. I worked hard to make it look higgledy-piggledy. Kind of a wonky roof, and that's intentional. So got her garden, these little dormer windows, and you can get to her house over here. It's actually pretty nice. That's a copper roof. It reflects the light really nicely. Turns out Emily's pretty rich. This is a bridge. I like this. It's a good place to stand and watch a parade. Assuming they have parades. Another cottage. This building is actually a play on a building that Versailles did back when Enshrouded first came out. He did a few builds. He's mostly a Valheim builder, but he did something like this, and I was trying to figure out how to build nice things and built it. And it was originally a gatehouse before I greatly expanded the town. Now it's a shop and a house. This is the back side to Balthazar's house. That's the town inn. This is one of those ingrown houses. I like this one. It came out really well. Modest little kitchen, dining area, some indoor plants. That's a bathroom, bedroom. Those fluorescent white blocks are really handy for the indoor houses to add some kind of natural light. So sometimes I'll put them in the ceiling. This is the carpenter's house. Kind of bare bones downstairs, but upstairs is luxury. Man, the man likes his bling. I really like the new wood that came with the update. So down here is kind of like the storage room for the inn. All the things they need to run are stored down here. Some deliveries being made. Over here is the carpenter's shop with everything, well, not everything, but a display of his handicraft. I accidentally pushed him into the corner there because now we can push people around, and every time I go to talk to him, I push him a little further. He used to be out here. Before we go to the castle, let's go to Hightown. This is the inn. And hello. There's a little stage for Mallory? I forget her name. Tables for the patrons. If you need a room for the night, you see the innkeep. And you get a cheap room for a few coppers. Or you can get a nice room for silver. It's a pretty big building. This is the Great House. I put Lady Leclerc in here. She seemed kind of snooty. There was a ruin here in the old Fort Kelvin that I had to tear down to the ground. So when I built this and filled it up, I left all the little knickerbracks in the house, or as many as I could. So there's still like some things like this vase, and this vase over here. They kind of worked their way into the build because I didn't destroy them. This is my favorite kitchen that I've done. Nice and big. It's got the bread oven. It's got the kettle and the big pot. A lot of food being made. Dining room. Little workroom. In the downstairs. Fancy bathroom. And kind of a his and hers, just very similar bathroom. And I don't know what you call this house. Pantry, kitchen. I need to fill the shelves in here. Sitting room, bathroom. The upstairs, not quite as good as the downstairs. But it does have a deck. Got another statue. There's more space for another building or two and another in-ground building. I do at some point have to, this area that I'm walking on right now, it actually dangles out over the shroud. This has all been extended out from where the land used to be. So if you view this area from the shroud down there, you just see land kind of sticking out, floating. So I need to build the cliff face, but it takes a long time, and I keep putting it off. There's our windmill and our watchtower, so we're kind of back to the gated quarter. Kind of empty without more buildings. Oh, there's a mage tower over there. That's hidden in the woods that we came through in the beginning. I just like to hide things in the woods and let people, well, somebody find them. Yeah, we've been here. Into the upper town. cottage. I love this building here. This was built entirely out of shingles. So all that siding is shingles. The arches on the windows came out really well. I like the design. I just kind of freehanded this building. It's not decorated though, there's no point in going inside. I think I'll put an archery range in here. It was a little cemetery, but I didn't like the idea of a cemetery inside the city walls, so I tore it out, and I just need to set up some archery targets and stuff, make it look like it's a archery range. And this was about where the shrine ended, the shrine area ended. And then when they updated Fort Kelvin to the new design that it has now, none of it appeared in my game because it's all covered by shrine, except this building over here appeared. And I really liked the shape of it. I tore it all down because I didn't like the material, but I rebuilt it in the same shape with this limestone. And I think it came out really well. I don't know what it is yet. I kind of have this idea that it might be a bank, but there's no gold in the game, and there's no like gold piles or anything like that. So we can't build the kind of treasure chests, which would look good in a bank. I think it'd be nice if they added something like that in the future. So I'm kind of leaving it empty in the hope that stuff will come along in another patch that'll let me do that with it. Another shrine, another space for a house. I like this one too. This one came out well. Little reading nook, dining area. Bedroom. Bathroom. Nice light in here. This one I was kind of playing with the roof line that Chisel Chip showed me how to build. And I thought they kind of have like, you know those buildings in like Denmark or the Netherlands, they kind of have those steep roofs, and they're kind of row houses in towns. That was kind of the idea I had when I built this one. Little sectioned off kitchen with bars. A lot of light. So, I'm sure you've seen enough inside of houses. Let's go down to the keep. So, I have a lot of hours into this. For every building that's here, there's probably something else that I built and tore down at some point. Go away, Hugo. That guy is creepy. Yeah, let's go with the castle. I'll save the Mage Tower for last. It's just the one entrance to the castle. When people attack it, there's a portcullis. They can be attacked from the outside. They can be attacked if they get through the portcullis, but before they open the doors. If they get through the doors and the portcullis, they can be attacked from above. It's sort of like a guard tower up here. If they get through the last portcullis, I mean, everything is behind sturdy doors. This is the main keep. Let's go over this way first. This is a storage area down into the dungeons. This is the Castellan's
Hello.
office. There's not a lord that lives in the castle. Castle is empty. Its only purpose is to give sanctuary to the citizens if the walls ever fall. We have some... This is the new jail slash dungeon. So yeah, there's no lord. It's just a castellan that runs it on behalf of the town. This is the well that allows the keep to function if it's under siege. There's more dungeon down there. Here we have a little armory. If we go out this way, we have a watchtower with a good sight line down the main thoroughfare and over the town plaza. So try to think about how to make the castle defensible. Like, a lot of people build some really beautiful castles, but they don't make a lot of sense as castles. I know that sounds pretty nerdy, but yeah, just try to make the castle make sense. So here are the battlements, the lower battlements anyway. You make proclamations or speeches from here. You can reach the other watchtower. Again, good sight lines down into the gate area, down into the plaza. Those are graves, but I thought they looked good on the wall. Kind of look like spikes on the wall. And up above in this tower is the Castellan's living quarters. It's a good living. This room I still need to get to. And I'll go into the bottom of the keep. Well, I might go up a few floors. So this is the only finished floor of the castle.
Hey.
And sort of my backstory of the town is, like I said, there's no lord. There's 5 elected councilors who run the town. They run... there's an election every year for one of the positions, and they all serve a 5-year term. So there's 4 elected, and then the Flameborn gets a permanent seat. 'Cause I'm special. I love this new floor. This is amazing. I'll go up a little bit to the first balcony. Like I said, it's not decorated. Kind of using the keep as like a refuge of last resort when the town gets attacked. Nobody actually lives in it. These are the upper battlements. Again, good sight lines down to the plaza and down the avenue. Here we have another watchtower. You get an idea just how big this place is. Sleeping quarters for the sergeants at arms. And a place to attack if people get through, or just to watch. We'll go up a little bit. Yeah, you can see how big the town is from up here. A lot of work went into this. Even I get turned around sometimes in here. Let's go visit... I forget his name. Alistair? Aiden? I don't forget what his name is. This room doesn't have a purpose yet. It used to be a cave in the old Fort Kelvin. And I thought one day I'll turn this into a treasury if we ever have things that can look like treasure. And then what's in here was a very happy accident. It used to be that this was like a guarded gate. And then beyond here, even though it was within my flame area, it was Enshrouded. And when they redid Fort Kelvin, they removed the shroud. But my flame kept what was here before, which is this. I think this place is so cool. It was the perfect place to put him. And then I've just tried to make it a little more creepy over time. But the lighting in here is so cool. What is your name? I don't remember. He's dead, so he doesn't really need to sleep much. And up here is how you get to the upper castle complex. So we have the pretty tower. I like how that looks. It's not decorated inside, but the outside's nice. Another place where you can attack from above if anyone comes in, tries to break in. And if the castle itself falls, there is an escape route. We'll send everybody up here, and you don't really notice this from down below. It's kind of a hidden path. People can escape the keep itself. And this is a sentry area that's also a bridge over a ravine. And people can escape out here. They can take flight off into the Revelwood, or escape off to the west. Kind of secret area. I think there's just one more place to go. That is the Mage Tower. Now there was a tower there before, which I tore down. It was made of the black castle stone. And I rebuilt it in white just to kind of show that the Flameborn had purified it. And for a long time I didn't know what to do with the upper area, and then I was watching some Ghibli shows, anime. I don't know if you're familiar with Ghibli Studios, but they have a certain aesthetic, and I thought, what if I made something Ghibli-esque on top of the tower? Like, it was just magically transported. Like, it doesn't belong there, but it somehow does. And that's why it looks that way. I was really trying to give it that aesthetic that Ghibli has. I would say my only thing I regret about this tower is that little side chute. I wish I had stayed with the materials that the rest of the building is made out of. I don't know why I switched, but I'll fix that one day. There's a new Pikemead statue. It's a little lookout point. The struts are just like shingles, making it look like it's braced onto the tower. And I put some stylized designs on the base. So this is a stylized flame and a stylized tower. So it's the Tower of the Flameborn. Although I don't actually live in it. I'm gonna make this a little like waiting area, you know, like people come to talk to them. It's like, take a number, sit down, like a dentist office. Just need to put some benches and chairs in. And they come up, here's his office. I had to be really careful about keeping the floor at a certain point because there is a lore here that I wanted to make sure was still available to read on the server if anyone else played it. So I had to make sure this floor was at this level and there was a table here so that that was taken care of. But this is his main office. Things that he's accumulated over his time adventuring. His very first shield up on the wall. Come up and over to the left is the kitchens. We have a nice portico with a beautiful view of the town. Ooh, beautiful night sky. And down the hall we have the grand dining room and the library. Still haven't figured out how to correctly fill this floor area. Still figuring that out. I don't want to make it too cluttered, but it's also a little bare right now. But the tapestries work great in this room. And a wall of windows. And I swear it's a beautiful view, but it's nighttime. Just a visitor's restroom. Up here we have, this is a little arm that you could see from outside. And there's the mage pointing towards the tower off in the distance. Bedroom. Bedroom. Bathroom. Master bedroom. With its own porch, or its own deck. It's a great view. And then there is space for the servants. First, this is the way up to the tower. I love these windows because you can make it look like a picture frame. But up here are the servants' quarters. They have their own kitchen area, sleeping quarters. They have washroom, bathroom, and they also have their own porch. Pretty proud of this tower. And that's pretty much it. I am slowly taking down the mountain behind the keep. I might take that mountain down one day too, but I'd have to put another flame down. I have a flame up across the way as well, because one shrine would not cover the whole valley. So I'll have to do something up there eventually too. But that's my build. I still have a lot more to go, but come a long way. Pretty proud of it. And hope you enjoyed it.